On today's episode, I'm gonna just hop right in, give it to y'all straight. This would really just be about, I guess, like my pre-internship stuff. And I have a lot to say. I have a story to tell. So I'm gonna just get right on up into it. So when I was applying to internship, I knew that I didn't have really any boundaries of where I would go. So like I was willing to travel. The only limitation that I set for myself when applying to school districts for internship was that they had to have at least 50% of their population, their student population, had to be Black and brown students. Because I knew, been knowing that the districts that I was applying to, I would want to stay on with for employment, right? Because most times in internship, that's what you'll see, that your employer that you were employed for internship will, if you're a good worker, I guess to say, if you're a good school psychologist, they see something in you, they would definitely keep you on in the end, and that would become your employer for the most part. So that's what I knew that I would have wanted for myself. So I only applied to districts that had 50% or more Black and brown students, because those are my babies. They have my heart, and that is who I really wanted to service. That's why I came into the field. So I definitely curated my list. So like I told y'all before, it was about, I wish I had put a date on this, but it was about October. That's funny to me because right here it literally says 50%, and I have like the breakdowns of what the percentage is of the districts. That's funny. But yeah, so here I have my handy dandy list. I applied to 9 school districts. Those were the District of Columbia Public Schools, Prince George's County Public Schools, Baltimore City Public Schools, Chicago Public Schools, School District of Philadelphia, Oakland Unified School District, Houston Independent School District, Fort Sam Houston Independent School District, and Miami-Dade County Public Schools. So those were the 9 districts that I applied to. Let me start by saying that out of those 9, I only had 5 interviews. So I interviewed with PG, Baltimore City, Chicago, Philadelphia, and Miami-Dade. So not for nothing, like DC and Oakland were gonna be unpaid internships. And I only applied to those as safeties because you just really never know. But again, I knew that I needed some coinage because you literally cannot work during your internship year, because this is like literally a full-time job. So I needed some money to be able to live my life. Like, ain't no free labor over here. And I mean, sometimes, right, some people gonna have to do it. That's the nature of the beast. But for me, baby girl, I needed the coin. Like, I needed money. Anyways, so I knew that I wasn't applying to anywhere, like, realistically, or like accepting anything realistically that wasn't paid. So on this sheet of paper, I have every internship that I'm applying to, the percentage of students of color that the districts have. I had their due dates, whether they were paid or unpaid, the amount, and then what they needed. So very much kept track on this one piece of paper. And I want to remind y'all, like I was saying, hold up. I want to remind y'all that I was rejected. So from the top, you will experience some rejections, all right? Like, I just want to keep letting y'all know that because it's the reality. And I've seen it time and time again in me and my cohort where we're just like, well, dang, we really going on these interviews and doing the dang thing, and they not calling us back, or they not calling us back. They not giving us these positions. The callback, just because you get an interview don't mean that these people are going to call you and tell you that you didn't get the position. And that's going to suck. So you need to act like you are dating these internship sites when you are on these interviews, when you're looking at them, when you're hearing back, because a lot of them, they're not going to call you back. Shiesty, I know. You're not going to hear that you didn't get the position from them. Makes no sense. Still join the field, but I'm just giving y'all the reality, the real tea, all of it, because somebody didn't tell us. So here we are, me and my cohort, trying to give y'all the answers. And I say that because I'm gonna have them stop by and tell y'all a little bit of something about their experiences, because you know they kind of smart. So I'm gonna have gonna come by and give y'all some info, okay? Okay. And let me know if y'all want them in the comments. I be telling y'all to let me know if you want these people back, because I won't bring them back if y'all don't like them for real. I promise. But I digress. So I went on 5 interviews for these 9 places that I applied to. Had 2 rejections. 3 out of the 5 I did receive offers from. I did end up turning down some I had to turn down 2 of my offers that I got. I guess I'll talk to you guys about the interview process. So 5 interviews. My first interview was with Baltimore City Public Schools, and that interview was me sitting at the table with 2 psychologists and really just going through and answering questions. That one, I want to say, like, that one threw me off because they asked me a question about like statistics about like what like how many sped students were in the school that I was at for practicum, and that really threw me off. But yeah, my interview with Baltimore was definitely pretty light. Like, that was the first one where I was just like, oh wow, I thought I did really good, I'm definitely gonna get this one. Nope, didn't get it. My next interview was with Prince George's County Public Schools. That one was a panel. So there were 6 psychologists, the head of the psych department at the table, and they had the list of questions that they were gonna answer. It was 6 questions, and they had it right in front of you, and you just went through and answered the questions like one by one. And also during that interview, before you went in for the like actual interview, you had to interpret some scores and like write up a quick summary. So that's also something that you could look forward to, like having to like write up scores, do a quick assessment review, and then going into the interview. So then that was a panel. For the school district of Philadelphia, that interview was over the phone, and it felt like really weird for me. I don't know, like I really can't even describe like what that experience was, but I know that that was really the reason that I turned it down. And the pay, they was offering $15,000, and I was like, yeah, no, like that ain't even a lot of bread for a whole school year. So I was like, nah, not even gonna be able to do it. But they did send me some like data, like probably I think it was like a half hour before my interview. They sent me some data to interpret, and I think it was like some like a student's whole profile, scores, assessment scores, whatever, and then they asked questions, or maybe they sent me the questions. I think they sent me the questions beforehand, so that when we got on the call, I just answered the questions like of like what disability, like that kind of stuff. So make sure you know all the stuff, and if you made it this far, your professors wouldn't have allowed you to make it this far, so whatever the case may be. Chicago, when I interviewed with Chicago, that was virtual, and I want to say that was probably one of my favorite interviews. Like the interviewers, it was just 2 of them. We really just had a conversation with their questions, like we laughed. I remembered it, like it was a very good interview. So I ended up having to turn them down because I went with my final choice of who I decided to intern with, Miami-Dade County Public Schools. That internship interview was probably my second favorite, because Chicago, like I really loved that interview. But we really had a conversation. So they started the interview basically like, hey, tell me about yourself, tell me about your application. And I just started to talk, and then we just got into like a really good conversation about like CHC theory and how that relates to like academics, and why I wanted to be in Miami and why I wanted to work with them. And it was a really great conversation. And like I was telling y'all before, date these internship people, because there are opportunities that you'll want that you can ask if they have in your interview, but date these people. Ask them the questions that they asking you. Y'all got questions, y'all want to know if this is a perfect fit for you. Don't be afraid to be in those internships asking the people like, why do you work for this district? Ask them people, talk to them people, like, why did you choose this district? How long have you been here? Would you want it, like, and I don't know if y'all could tell by now, y'all been knowing me for about a year now, that I'm raw. Like, I really show up to my job just like this, my whole self. And that's what you should be aspiring to do, right? So show up to these interviews as your whole selves and try to get the most out of these people, okay? Ultimately, I chose Miami-Dade because of the money. I went where the money resided. I went where the money resided. I went where the money was. They were offering a healthy, okay, when I say healthy, stipend, pay, whatever you want to call it, it was definitely that, and the energy from that interview. Like, and I don't say I regret it. I would never say that I regret moving and packing up and moving my life to Miami. But all in all, like, make sure that the internship is a perfect fit. And I'm not even saying that it wasn't a perfect fit for me, because God put me there on purpose. But don't make it be all about the money. Don't just, like, really pay attention. Pay attention to this, because your internship will really make or break your training experience. Like, it's where you'll know if what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing for real. So I just said a lot about a little bit about a lot. Probably ain't even said nothing. But this next video, we really, like, when y'all go from this video to my next video, I'm gonna be in that next video just chopping it straight up what my year in Miami was about. So I hope you're ready. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out. Peace.